Physical Graffiti, released in 1975. And in my opinion, this is Led Zeppelin's weirdest riff. And they had quite a few of those. I'll try to explain today what I think's going on with it. First thing we hear in the tune is a long synthesizer introduction played by John Paul Jones. And I considered trying to recreate that for the performance section, but I thought I'd probably lose most people after about 30 seconds of that. So if you're unfamiliar with the tune, go check it out and you'll see what I mean. If you know the tune, you know what I'm talking about. It's a great part. And it's just primarily built around the A Mixolydian scale. All right. But let's get to the meat and potatoes. There's a couple of riffs here that, really are hard to explain, but I'll do my best. Let's start. You will find the road. You will find the road. Now, look at these. I mean, it's really just the blues scale, right? The A blues scale. A, C, D, D sharp, E, G, A, with a chromatic passing tone from G to G sharp to A. And they have used that kind of thing before. It's in Black Dog. I did a video on that. Which is also primarily just the A blues scale, kind of, but that G sharp note is in there. So they liked that sound. So that's not a big deal, but it is pretty menacing sounding, isn't it? I think it's just rhythmically the way they land on that G sharp and hold it, the E, D, A. So that's a strange collection of pitches, and the way that everything is in unison playing it. You've got that synthesizer in the background just droning on an A note, and then the bass, the guitar, and the keyboards are all playing that, and it's got an ominous sort of foreboding to it. Let's keep going. And then the secondary riff. Before we get to that though, one little thing. This tune is just primarily in 4/4, but the first time through, before we get to the secondary riff, there's a measure of 5. Let's count it out. So we're actually going to start with a rest on beat 1. Check it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Just one measure of 5 in there. That was hard to find where the downbeat was because they come in on 2. But even if you counted that as 1, you still have to account for an extra beat before riff number 2. Why the measure of 5? I mean, those guys were no strangers to odd time signatures, but it could be when you hear John Bonham playing through this part, it feels like he's trying to feel it naturally. He's not trying to count it so much. I think he's just intuitively going for the feel. And it might have felt natural to him to just kind of wait a beat, and then come in with riff 2. Or they just planned it out. I can't say for sure, but that's what it is. all part of the Mixolydian mode so far. F, D, F, E, G. Folks, if I lived to be 200 years old, I'd never come up with that riff. Most people wouldn't. Odd collection of pitches. And I can't give you a scale that's from. I guess the chromatic scale, right? I don't know. All I do know is that this is a great example of where whoever wrote the riff, whether it was Jimmy Page or John Paul Jones, it was just what they were hearing, right? And you know, I can't point to another tune that sounds like that. You know, it's just one of those things. All right, and it's interesting though. After they go through that riff 7 times, then you get just half of the first riff. You get as like a little interlude. Pretty cool. I mean, I wouldn't have thought of doing that either. All right. So we've had 3 parts of this tune so far. We've had the big long synth intro on a Mixolydian scale. We've had these 2 riffs using chromaticism, right? And the whole tune has been pretty dark so far. For a song called In the Light, it's been pretty dark. But now when we get to this last section of the song, it turns into A major. And we get this big uplift, big anthemic chorus. I guess you could call it a chorus. Jimmy Page playing that just simple major scale ascending line. It's like this triumphant sort of sound. And beautiful bass line by John Paul Jones. Let's get to that section. It's just descending major scale, right? A, G sharp, F sharp, E, D, right? And all those little fills and things, just very tasteful bass playing. Let's go to the keyboard and let's take a look at what the harmony is there. All right, so let's check out this clavinet part that John Paul Jones plays in the section. And he just starts with an A chord, A and C, then throws in a G sharp. And he gets that nice little half-step dissonance, right, to an F sharp. So now we have F sharp minor. All right, so that's like an A chord with an E on the bottom. You have E, A, and then he does this little country lick, you know, like B to C sharp. So, and then I love this one. So he gets down to D, doesn't stay in the key of A though. He goes to a D sus4. D, G, A, D. Cool. To a D chord. Move the G down to F sharp, right? So after he does the sus4, D, F sharp, G, F sharp, E, D, A. Well, I hope you enjoyed that breakdown. If you did, please consider subscribing to my channel, and there'll be more videos like this to come. Thanks for watching.